Oh, no, don't do that. Oh, don't. Oh, that's horrible.
You're an idiot.
Whoa, oh my god.
Don't give up. Look at this, we shake it. Hey!
I'm getting so freaked out. I get pretty freaked out, bro. Why is this happening? This is crazy.
Wait, I want to get a kill with my 290. Oh my! Whoa! 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 Wait, I'm recording. This was VR's golden age. And this is what VR is now. A dying platform. Virtual reality was supposed to change everything. Immersive worlds, revolutionary gameplay, and the feeling that you were truly in the game. But here we are, nearly a decade later, and VR gaming is kind of stuck. So what happened? How did we go from a revolution to basically a niche? To figure this out, we must delve into the history of VR gaming. From my own research and experience, VR never really truly was popularized as a gaming medium until around 2016 with the HTC Vive. This is the era when you'd see all sorts of YouTubers playing and talking about virtual reality and its capabilities in their own respective niches.
This the right one? I don't know. Ah, my lights! Why?
However, the true spark that created what VR is today was the foundation and the marvels brought about by Oculus. Just remember and keep in mind that this was all from 2012 to 2016, nothing too recent so far. Novelty aside, VR was mainly inaccessible at this point because to even play VR in the first place, you would need a powerful PC even to get the whole setup running, making VR mostly inaccessible to anyone trying to play it. This was probably why VR consistently failed up until this point, ever since the 90s with the Nintendo Virtual Boy, with its red and black pixelated graphics. This all changed, however, with the introduction of the Meta or Oculus Quest. This was when you could play VR without having to need a PC in order to run any games at all. This was when you could have a standalone VR headset, which was at the time revolutionary. When Facebook bought Oculus and changed the name to Meta, we had the Meta Quest 2, or Oculus Quest 2, whichever one you prefer. The Oculus Quest 2 sold more than the Xbox Series X and became the highest selling VR headset of all time. Even with the introduction of the Meta Quest Pro and the Meta Quest 3, we never really surpassed the hype and the amount of popularity for the Quest 2. Virtual reality right now, as of this moment, is more or less stagnant. And I think I know the reason why. Consoles and PCs have been around for forever, and VR gaming is a relatively new technology. With that in mind, this is the biggest obstacle of all for VR. It's the mainstream appeal. VR may have wowed early adopters and tech enthusiasts like me, but for casual gamers, it was a tough sell. Strapping on a headset, clearing out space, and dedicating time to an isolated experience just didn't fit into everyone's lifestyle. Unlike consoles or PC gaming, VR couldn't integrate seamlessly into people's daily routine. Casual gamers have embraced platforms that are quick, easy, and accessible, like mobile games on the phone or the Nintendo Switch. These are devices you can pick up and play on the go, during a break or while relaxing. VR, on the other hand, requires planning and commitment. It's not just something you can casually jump into for 10 minutes at a time. And for families or shared households, VR's individual nature means it's not as inclusive as other forms of gaming. Watching someone play on a TV or handheld device is fun for everyone, but watching someone wave their arms around in a headset doesn't quite have the same appeal. In fact, it can feel more like a spectator sport than a shared experience. And because of this, if less people are interested or playing VR in the first place, then there's going to be less mainstream media covering VR and its technological marvels. This creates a cycle where less people are introduced to VR as a whole, and therefore less people are going to be playing it. It's a self-destructive cycle that, unfortunately, VR is stuck in at this moment. While consoles and PCs have a concrete standing in media like YouTube these days, VR doesn't, and whatever VR coverage there is on places like YouTube, it isn't going to be as popular as anything like, let's say, Minecraft Java Edition. VR games are also kind of part of the problem. While traditional gaming trends like battle royales or live service games kept dominating headlines on PC or consoles, VR quietly slipped into the background. Sure, there were occasional successes like Beat Saber or Half-Life Alyx, but these weren't enough to sustain mainstream interest. Without the regular breakthroughs or blockbuster releases, VR didn't have the staying power to keep people talking. This also lends into the problem of lack of coverage in mainstream media because platforms like YouTube and Twitch played a huge role in driving the popularity of games like Fortnite or Minecraft. This isn't the same case with games like The Walking Dead Saints or Sinners, or even Beat Saber. These games were easy to stream, easy to watch, and fun to experience as a community. VR, on the other hand, doesn't translate well into these platforms, because you want to watch or play the games in, virtual reality. Watching someone flail around in the headset doesn't capture the same excitement as being in the game yourself, and I know this firsthand because I've played VR myself. Introduced with the MetaQuest 3, mixed reality is often seen as the next step for VR, blending the immersive qualities of virtual reality with the practicality of augmented reality, or AR. On the surface, it sounds like the best of both worlds. You get to experience virtual environments while staying connected to your physical surroundings. And sure, the concept is undeniably cool. But here's the thing. While mixed reality can be impressive, it often feels like it's diluting what makes a VR game special. VR's real magic lies in its ability to transport you to entirely new worlds, places where reality no longer matters. With mixed reality, you're tethered to your physical surroundings, constantly reminded of the limitations of your environment. Sure, seeing virtual objects interact with your real world is fun at first, but that novelty wears off pretty quickly, and it doesn't capture the same sense of wonder that a fully immersive VR experience can provide. The shift towards mixed reality also raises a deeper concern. Is VR losing its identity by trying to appeal to everyone? Mixed reality feels like an attempt to please both VR enthusiasts and AR fans, but in doing so, it risks becoming a jack of all trades and a master of none. Instead of doubling down on the creativity and escapism that VR excels at, the industry is hedging its bets, offering tools and practical applications that, while useful, don't evoke the same sense of excitement or adventure. You could do what I do and try to avoid all AR games, because although they are fun, they are extremely limiting in the experience that they can provide for the amount of money you're paying for it. But there are problems here. First, of course, that there's a lot of creativity and potential trapped behind the limitations of an AR experience. Even though there's not many AR experiences, another problem lies in the fact that there are a lot of AR experiences and worlds that could have been transplanted into a VR one and would have been a lot better and more creative. And there's the fact that you're not tapping into the true potential of your recent headset, and also the fact that you're not supporting developers who did put time and passion into these AR experiences. That's not to say mixed reality is entirely without merit. Its practicality could help VR reach new audiences and find applications beyond gaming. For workspaces, education, or even fitness, mixed reality makes sense. It bridges the gap between the digital and physical in ways that are genuinely useful. But when it comes to gaming and escapism, mixed reality feels like a compromise, like VR is giving up some of its soul to chase some broader appeal. And I get it. Appealing to a bigger audience makes more money in the end for these companies. But think to yourself, is all this sacrifice and compromise, is it truly worth it? Tell me in the comments. Well, so we're here to talk about VR gaming, not just VR. So, let's get right back into it. Just to conclude this section, mixed reality may have a place in the future, but it shouldn't come at the expense of what makes VR unique. There is something irreplaceable about the total immersion VR provides, the ability to leave the real world behind and dive into an entirely different reality. As VR continues to evolve, it's important to remember that while blending technologies can be exciting, sometimes fully committing to one vision creates the most magic. While I may have been very negative throughout most of this video, it's because VR is not in a great shape right now. But VR is worth saving, and I believe I know how. But first, we need to take a look at probably the most popular headsets, see what they've done right, and see what they've done wrong. First, let's talk about the Apple Vision Pro. The Apple Vision Pro with the ambitious step into mixed reality, which we've already talked about before, and why that honestly isn't the best thing for a company to try to push for. But on the positive side, Apple is betting big on polish, as they always do with their products. The Vision Pro emphasizes a sleek design and seamless integration with the existing Apple ecosystems, something that a lot of other headsets don't really accomplish. The idea of blending work, entertainment, and social experiences in one device is very appealing. But there's also a content drought for this headset. There's not much to do it and there's not much to buy it for. And also at the price tag of $3,500, it's far from accessible, something VR really heavily struggles with. So we've learned from this headset that VR has to focus on making their technology more immersive and accessible, rather than catering exclusively to a luxury audience, and to also have a lot of content to make the headset even worth buying in the first place. On the other hand, the Meta Quest, the whole series, has arguably done more to make VR accessible than any other headset before and after. The Quest 2, and arguably the Quest 1, brought standalone VR to the masses, requiring no cables, no PC, just pop it on and play, without having to pay $3,500. This simplicity, combined with a relatively affordable price, made it a hit. But Meta's strategy has its flaws. The company's focus on social VR, like Horizon Worlds, hasn't exactly taken off. To me, this platform feels more like a corporate experiment than a thriving social hub, especially with the amount of people who are actually playing VR at this moment. From what I've seen, I think Meta needs to double down on making VR truly social and to focus more on VR rather than AR. Not by forcing it into awkward virtual meeting spaces like Horizon Worlds, but by encouraging organic multiplayer experiences in games and apps. They've also been criticized for prioritizing quantity over quality when it comes to content, with the Quest Store being filled with forgettable titles, especially with the app labs. To succeed, they need to focus on cultivating a library of must-play games, like they did with the Quest 1. On a side note, I think MetaQuest needs to up their advertising game, because even though there are advertisements, I think they need more people collaborating and making videos on this platform. Because if people see their favorite creators play these games, they're going to want to play it for themselves as well. So what have we learned? First, VR needs to stay affordable, but not at the expense of quality. Devices like the Quest show it's possible to lower prices while also delivering a good performance. The next step is ensuring budget-friendly devices that don't feel like a watered-down experience. High-resolution screens, improved tracking, and better battery life should be the standard even in entry-level models, especially for the Meta Quest, because that thing only has like 1 to 2 hours of battery life. As shown by the Apple Vision Pro and honestly even the PSVR 2, comfort is key. Headsets need to be lighter, more ergonomic, and less intrusive. Reducing motion sickness through better frame rates and tracking is also critical, even though I've never had motion sickness myself. The setup process should also be simple enough for anyone to use. Finally, something I haven't talked about already, VR companies need patience. The technology won't dominate overnight. Consistent investment in hardware, software, and developer support will build a stronger foundation over time. It is honestly those who are passionate for VR are the people who make this succeed. And as shown by the increased efforts recently, saving VR isn't impossible, it's about returning to its roots while learning from its past. By making it more accessible, fostering creativity, and leaning into what makes it special, VR can become something more than a niche. It become a cornerstone of how we interact with technology and entertainment. The potential is there. Now, it's the time to seize it.
That is creepy.
VR has always been about potential. The potential to step into another world, to interact with technology in ways we never thought possible, and to revolutionize entertainment and beyond. But potential alone isn't enough. Throughout this video, we've seen the highs and lows of VR, from the groundbreaking excitement of the early HTC Vive days to the struggles of mainstream adoption today. We've explored how companies like Apple, Meta, and Oculus have shaped the industry for better or worse. And we've pinpointed the issues holding VR back: high costs and an identity crisis as it tries to appeal to everyone. But VR is far from dead. Its immersive power, its ability to connect people, and the capacity for creativity remain unmatched. To save VR, we need to learn from its history, lean into its strengths, and focus on what makes it truly special, leaving the mundane world behind and diving headfirst into the extraordinary. To be honest, that sounded really dystopian, I'm not gonna lie. The road ahead won't be easy, but the promise of VR is too incredible to let slip away. VR has died a lot in the past, with many failed headsets, but the promise has always drawn people back to it, and now here we are. So here's to the future of VR. One where imagination takes center stage, innovation drives progress, and virtual reality finally becomes the phenomenon we always knew it could be. And maybe, just maybe, that future isn't as far away as it seems.